Did you know that the ending of the movie The End of Oak Street has a huge time travel problem, and we have to talk about it. Now, spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the movie yet, so click off this video and come back after you've seen the film. Now, so many of you have been asking in my comments what exactly happens when Denise and the kids go back to the future and end up in 1982, 20 minutes before the portal sends their neighborhood back to prehistoric times. Now, to be honest, it is not something that can be explained very simply. It is 100% true when Denise and the kids are back in 1982, there is a version of themselves that is in Oak Street, but the main focus that Denise has is saving her husband who had been killed by the dinosaur and saved her life. At one point in the film, there are 2 Denises, 2 Brians, and 2 Audreys, but there is only one version of Greg, and that is the one that she chooses to save by calling a pizza. Now, there's a huge argument among fans right now that creates a massive problem, and it's the fact that Denise sent her and her kids back to the Cretaceous period, and many fans are wondering if when they are killed, if the present day versions of themselves would be killed as well. What's funny is that the time paradox in this movie can actually be explained by Doc Brown in Back to the Future Part 2. If you haven't seen Back to the Future yet, you won't really understand much about this, but think about when Biff goes back to the past to give himself the almanac and changes the timeline, he actually creates an alternate timeline that you can see right here on Doc Brown's board. Now, I know this can be super confusing, but look at the end of Oak Street as timeline A and timeline B. It is most likely true that timeline A Denise will die with her kids because Greg will not be there to save them from the dinosaurs and create this new timeline. They also saved a bunch of their neighbors, so now those neighbors are living in timeline B, and that's the only timeline that really matters because her husband is alive in this one. Think about how many timelines there could be created if you make a split-second decision in your life, and just turning right or left at a certain place could change the trajectory of your entire life. Now, who knows what would have happened if they went back to save their other selves, but this could actually be answered because Jeanette actually does this. Now, when it comes to Jeanette, fans are going crazy because most people believe that there are 2 Jeanettes at the end of the movie, and this is because Jeanette went and saved her parents because she got back early when she jumped into the portal, and by doing this, she also saved the timeline A version of herself. When I was first watching it, I thought that maybe this was her sister, but the more I talked to fans and people in my comments, it seems like that this is another version of Jeanette that she saved. Now, as I've mentioned, when it comes to future movies, I tend to follow the Back to the Future ideologies, and Doc Brown always talks about how the space-time continuum could be absolutely disrupted, and it could change the entire universe by interacting with yourself from a different time period. This could possibly cause the entire universe to just explode or just some crazy stuff to be happening, and the fact that Anne Hathaway's character was just saving a bunch of neighbors as well who were supposed to die, and most likely did die, could have huge implications on the world. Now, the movie never really explains what happens with the portal, why they were able to transport themselves back, or why their neighborhood was even sent back to the Cretaceous period in the first place. I don't think we'll ever get an answer. Who knows if we'll get a sequel or a prequel to The End of Oak Street. We probably won't. But all I know for certain is that when Jeanette number 1 steps into 1982, when Jeanette number 2 also exists there, they have the same exact biological matter and consciousness, and by doubling it in a single era, the results would just be catastrophic. Now, in Back to the Future and other movies, the universe tries to heal itself, but maybe the End of Oak Street universe just deals with these kind of events in a different way. And it could be entirely possible that there are 0 correcting mechanisms and that Jeanette and her other self can just live together with nothing else changing except a messy duplicate world that they have now created. Imagine just explaining to like the Social Security office that you need another Social Security for the same exact person. They'd think you're out of your mind. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about Jen and the portals and everything to do with the time travel in the movie The End of Oak Street? I thought this movie was really great. It has some up and downs with the dialogue and some lack in urgency, but overall I really enjoyed it, and so far it's one of my favorite movies of 2026.